I mean, liches are super cool and all, but have you heard of Jimothy, the legendary town guard? Hello and welcome to Dungeon Mastery, the show where we master the art of dungeon mastering. My name is Josiah, also known as Dungeon Dad, and today we are talking about legendary actions. Legendary actions are something that was added to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons to kind of counterbalance the action economy and how it works. For those of you who might be new to DMing or who don't really have a good grasp on how legendary actions work, let me explain it to you. Essentially, if a creature has legendary actions, at the end of its turn, it's able to do something like cast a spell or move or use one of its abilities. And the whole idea behind this is that whenever you have a group of players up against one boss monster, things can quickly turn against that boss monster in very unsatisfying fashion when all 5 of your players use their most powerful abilities and then the Lich gets to go and it casts one spell. Even if the Lich is able to kill someone with a spell such as Power Word Kill, it's very likely that one of the party members is going to be able to use their action to get that person back up on their feet, while the rest of the party continues wailing on the boss, meaning that the boss never really has a chance to get ahead and feel like a boss. So legendary actions are a pretty elegant solution to that whole situation. This lets the big singular boss monster do cool stuff at the end of the other players' turns, so it really feels like a big epic encounter. Now, if your players are facing off against a Lich, for example, legendary actions are a great way to make that encounter legendary. However, we don't often think to use legendary actions outside of big, grand boss encounters at high level. And I think that that is just silly. The purpose of making this video today is to talk about one of the ways that I use legendary actions in my own campaigns, and hopefully this will help some of you who are maybe new at DMing or who've been doing it for a while and just haven't thought to do this in making your low and mid-tier boss fights feel a little bit more epic. And to get straight to the point, what I'm talking about is giving legendary actions to creatures that don't normally have them. Now, I'm not suggesting you give every single monster and every single encounter you run a legendary action or two, but say you're running a low-level campaign and the party is facing off against a corrupt town guard captain and his men. Rules as written, if maybe you're using like the bandit captain stat block and then the bandit stat blocks for his soldiers, there's no legendary actions at play there. What I encourage you to try doing is taking your boss monster, so the guard captain in this situation, and adding some legendary actions to their stat block. This is kind of a fun creative exercise too, because it puts you in the headspace of that NPC and gets you thinking like, what kind of abilities would this corrupt guard have? Maybe you give him a legendary action that allows him to, at the end of one of the player's turns, throw a bunch of gold coins into the street and a bunch of peasants come swarming in to try to get them. This might not hurt the party, but it could provide a nice meat shield between him and the rest of the party, and the party's not going to want to kill those innocents, unless they really hate this guy, in which case strategy failed, I suppose. Or maybe he has a legendary action where he can call for help from all the guards that he commands, and they are all able to take a move action, allowing them to move closer to him and protect his flanks. Those are just 2 examples of little abilities you can tack on to make a boss fight a bit more memorable, and it also adds a lot of personality. See, just by adding those 2 abilities that I just mentioned to a corrupt town guard, it kind of paints this picture of someone who might be evil but is also quite cowardly and is willing to put others in harm's way in order to stay away from the blade himself. It's just something to think about and will help you not only flesh out a cool combat, but it also might help you inform what that character's personality might be like in some ways. And I'm sure this is something that some of you out there are already doing, but it's such an easy thing to overlook, and it's such a great way to enhance early game combat without having to do a whole lot to overhaul the monster's stat block to begin with. So hopefully some of you guys find this helpful, and if you do, please let me know in the comments how you've used legendary actions on non-legendary creatures in the past to maybe make the combat a little bit spicier. There are lots of things we can do to mix up non-traditional boss monsters to make them boss monsters, and legendary actions are just one of those things. We've also got mythic actions or just adding things to the stat block, and these are all things we will eventually talk about on this channel. But for now, if there's anything that you want me to talk about, if you have any questions or anything that you struggle with as a DM that we want to discuss in the Dungeon Mastery video series, leave a comment down below as well, and I will be happy to go over those things, because I mean, hey, I'm making the videos for you guys. You tell me what you want to see, I'll let you see it, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Until then.